The Champions League is only a few days away, which means we will have extensive previews going forward. This is our first of which we'll probably break down some Cristiano Ronaldo versus Gigi Buffon statistics.
In the defense.
The defense in general. The BBC that has been kind of overlooked.
Sorry. You're just
You've
ridiculous.
been on porn filters recently. You're disgusting.
What do you want from me? I mean, come on.
The BBC was Bale, Benzema, Cristiano Ronaldo, but there's another
British
BBC.
Broadcasting Company.
There's a British Broadcasting Company, and it's also the other one. It's Buffon, Bonucci,
and
Chiellini.
Chiellini.
Or it's Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini. You
That's
can put it
true
either way,
also.
but I would still, Barzagli comes in and out now and again. But that dominant back 3, 4, 5 with the likes of Dani Alves on the wings and Sandro, they're a good team. It's going to be a phenomenal final. I don't know if it will be high scoring because Juventus don't often give up much goals, but Real Madrid do like to bash them in. So the point is, Jason, is let's just go at it raw. Who do you think is going to win? This is the first and foremost clip. I know you want Juventus to win.
I want Juventus to win. I think Real Madrid's going to win because I think that they have the most perfect squad, before I get yelled at, to play on the highest level of European football. The team could win the World Cup if they wanted to. If they could. And the numbers in itself, it's not just the statistics that I care so much about. In this case, it's the fact that Zidane has lost under 10 matches since he's taken over. And the locker room has bought into him. This Ronaldo is slowing down, has never been a thing for the last 2 or 3 years. And when you look at how they overcome any kind of like uphill battle, the Juventus defense, as much as they've been unreal, has not played at this stage a team as good as Real Madrid. And I hate saying that because I know that they blanked Barcelona, but that Barcelona that played Juventus was in shambles compared to the Barcelona they played
in the final,
a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They were entirely different, not entirely different teams, but very different in terms of how we were looking at Messi, Neymar, and Suarez being an unstoppable three-headed monster, which is what they were compared to what they were a couple months ago, or 2 months ago.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go into a little bit more of a specific outlook on
why
why I think Real Madrid will win this game. I think it's going to be a battle of the width, right? And I think that Juventus have exploited wide areas in many teams so far. Dani Alves has had the free rein to just devour teams, right? He's been phenomenal, and he did it against Barcelona. Barcelona had been weak in the fullback area this entire season. It so happens that Real Madrid happened to have the best left back in the world, and Juventus seem to have the best right wing back. I would say wing back so far because he plays in a system that allows him to push forward a lot more. So I think it's going to be a battle of that. I think Marcelo is going to try and nullify Dani Alves by pushing forward and making Dani Alves sit a little further back. Now, whether Dani Alves relies on his back three or those that are helping to compensate for him going forward is another story, because then they can catch out Real Madrid on a counter-attack, which Dani Alves loves to do. But the way Marcelo's playing at this point in the season, I mean, it was ridiculous, but my buddy Kev over at BN was like, Marcelo for Ballon d'Or if they go on and win it. Now, he's never going to win that because we know that him and Dani Alves, regardless of how good of a season they have, are not going to be put next to Messi and Ronaldo because it's all about quantity. And even though Dani Alves is putting up crazy numbers at the moment in terms of assists and goals, you're always going to fall short to Ronaldo and Messi. But my point being, on both sides in terms of width, Real Madrid have really made sure to find a good balance. They don't overcompensate as much anymore. They don't push. Marcelo a couple of years ago would be attacking, and he would not be able to make it back, and they'd be susceptible to counter-attacks in the wide areas. He's completely squashed that. He knows when to push forward. When he pushes forward, whether it's Carvajal or those on the right, tuck in a little bit more. They look more stable at the back. Ramos is having a better season. They've got a little bit more stability in terms of their defensive capabilities to allow for Marcelo to push forward. And I think that's going to be a big thing, because I think that Dani Alves is a huge part of why Juventus have been taking teams apart, because he's been given space, because teams are a little bit more afraid to push towards Juventus because they're good on the counter-attack. So that's just one small issue. I mean, there's other bigger things to take into consideration. If Juventus sit back the way they did at the Nou Camp and try to kind of withstand the pressure, no team in the world unlocks defensive-minded teams at the moment better than Real Madrid. they are happy to let you sit back. Look what happened to Atletico Madrid last final, sorry. Atletico Madrid struggled in the first half because they tried to play too defensive, and Real Madrid used that momentum to eventually go on and beat them. I know it was in penalty kicks, but the game was a battle. It was a mental battle throughout, and Atletico played better in the second half when they brought on Carrasco, and they were eventually able to push higher up. If Khedira plays the way he did against Barcelona in the first leg, it'll be a different story because they can push up a little bit. I told you to watch out where Khedira was predominantly focused in the first game against Barca. He was in Barcelona's half, higher up, able to help. In the second leg, him and the rest of the midfield were a little bit deeper. Juventus are still one of the best teams at being able to observe that pressure, but still they haven't played a Real Madrid yet, and that's where the problem comes in.
It's also the squad depth. That's what I was gonna. The other thing I was going to touch on when it comes to Real Madrid, and sure, the width sounds very important. Marcelo's left foot, rivaling, I think,
Dani Alves is right. What a matchup
it is. It's going to be, well, they'll never. I just want to see. All right, here's the rule. So for this Champions League final, you can't use your left foot and you can't use your right foot.
And none of you guys can defend. Just go forward.
We're going to play 7-on-7. Yeah. No, the other thing too is that if it's, I can't expect there to be. I actually don't think there will be any goals in the first 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's going to extra time as well.
And I think if it goes to extra time, that is not as good for Juventus as it is for Real Madrid, because in terms of squad depth and how Zidane has used his subs, regardless what he wants to do with players like James, just look at El Clasico for an example, and James turns out for one of the more important goals in that game, although he's probably not playing for the team next year. So a lot of these players, I think they're in the situation that they have to lift this trophy now.
Yeah.
And with so much history on the line, it's going to come down to really who's going to make the mistake, not necessarily who's going to take advantage of, I would think, a swift counterattack. Because it's not like if you get the ball into the box, if you're Real Madrid, it's a given that you're going to be able to use any kind of, in basketball we call it motions, I'm not sure exactly what the word is in football, but just anybody to cut in or backdoor runs or go far post, whatever it might be, because they're so good at locking that down. And same vice versa. Juventus scores on a counterattack, and they're very good at doing that, but you still have to get back past one of the best defenders in the world to do so. So if it goes 120 minutes, I just think it's just the same. It wouldn't shock me if Ronaldo bangs in your penalty kick to win the entire Champions League again, and it wouldn't shock me at all if Ronaldo misses 2 or 3 opportunities during the match itself. Oh, there's Ronaldo showing up when it like in the penalty kick, fifth guy in the rotation.
And you got to understand, this is no means to undermine Juventus. I just think that they have. I watched their game against Monaco specifically, and I saw that Monaco had their fair share of chances, and they had opportunities to score both legs. And I think you give those opportunities to Cristiano Ronaldo, to Karim Benzema, and I think he's going to put those home. And I think that they were allowed to counter-attack Monaco a little too easily. And Barcelona a little too easily. Because the youth was on display.
Yeah, maybe not at Barcelona, but the youth was on display at Monaco, and it's tremendous what they were able to accomplish this year. But there is no youth on Real Madrid. It's all, not necessarily veterans, but
experienced.
They're not going to make that mistake.
Yeah. I think, in my opinion, it's going to be 1-1. And I think it's going, and it's 1-1, and I think that Real Madrid win it in extra time. I don't think it goes to penalty kicks. I think squad depth's going to be a big thing as well. But it's just going to come down to which team. If Juventus, I mean, they have a great chance. They've got phenomenal talent. Dybala is an insanely talented player. And I think that they have a lot of phenomenal talent. They've strengthened this year when many people thought they would buckle with Paul Pogba leaving and the last couple of years losing the likes of Vidal, Pirlo, Pogba. So you got to give them so much credit that they're able to maintain and still push forward and get better each year. So, in my opinion, I think it goes 1-1, and I think Real Madrid win it in extra time.
Yeah. Well, I don't want that to happen. So 1-0 Juventus in the defensive masterclass that is.
Boring Champions League final.
You just know if it's 1-0 either side, there's going to be like, and that's a 9 minutes of extra time. Oh my God, or 9 minutes of stoppage time. You just know.
Ramos will pop up.
Yeah.
98th minute with the header.
Oh yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Put your money on it. All right, comment below, and we'll see you soon for some more Champions League previews before the big game Saturday.